Might be some fans in. Good. Let's waste no time to introduce two of the amazing stars of the hit game Baldur's Gate 3, Neil Newbon and Devora Wilde. Welcome, welcome. Come take a seat, my friends. I asked them for some rock, Neil. I asked for rock.
Astarion approves.
This is what we like to see. Guys, the cast of Baldur's Gate 3! Now, this is very exciting because, Neil, you and I spoke with Jennifer a year ago when the game was in early access.
Yeah, that's right.
We had a small stage.
It's Jen's first con as well.
It was. And look at it now. An award-winning game. 7 awards, including one for yourself.
Thank you very much.
A Golden Joystick Award for the best supporting performer for Astarion. So, considering how much the game has changed and how the game is now out and you have loads of people who are adoring it, how does it feel to be part of this amazing success so far? Dev said I could call her Dev backstage. Dev.
Special permission.
Special permission.
I thought she said under pain of death. Sorry, maybe you didn't.
Oh, no, sorry. Oh, it was. Oh, I'm sorry, Devora. I apologize. So how does it feel at this point to now be this? Did you know it was going to be such a massive success? You knew it was going to be a big game.
I feel
but
like
look at it now.
you had, because you sort of knew a lot about the world. I just went into it like, Dungeons and Dragons, that sounds nice. Yeah, I had no idea.
No?
Zero idea.
Well, how does it feel to be part of such a success at this point?
Crazy, but great. But crazy.
Crazy, but great.
But great.
Crazy.
Just crazy, but great. Very overwhelming, but in like the best possible way. I just didn't expect it because I really went into this without knowing a lot about the background and the context and the world, because I am a prepared actor. But it's been incredible, and meeting so many people and everyone's been so welcoming and friendly and just very warm has been great.
It really has. And Neil, obviously, like we said, we talked in early access, but now that it's out and you've had this outpouring of real adoration for Astarion, how does that feel for you at this point?
I feel very humbled by it, actually. I mean, I'm a geek as well. I played the original games. I worked out more or less in audition stages for what it could be. So I was super excited from the beginning. And then getting to play, all of us had these incredibly well-scripted, well-crafted, three-dimensional, multi-layered characters. And that's just the companions, let alone the hundreds and thousands of other characters and the 248 other actors involved in the making of Baldur's Gate. Excuse me. But yeah, I think we knew it was going to be great. Like, I'm a gamer as well. I played a little bit of early access because I want to understand more about the mechanics. Obviously, I do motion capture with Larian, which was great. I was also directing with Larian for a little bit of the performance stuff, about 6 months.
Wow.
So I played a little bit, and it was just mind-blowingly good, especially because it was early access. It hadn't even been finished and polished and stuff. So I knew it was going to be great. I don't think any of us were prepared for the love and the outpouring of support and interest and joy that the game and our characters, individually as well as a group collectively, have given people. And I think you're absolutely right. It's overwhelming in the best possible way. It's been amazing.
That's about right, because I think I agree that we all knew it was going to be big, but it's taken the world by storm, and people completely fallen in love with your characters.
Park.
It's really exciting, though. And, well, actually, we haven't really mentioned who it is that you guys play. So, do you want to just introduce your characters in character, possibly, so people know exactly?
I play Shadowheart. Clearly.
Go for it in character, Dev.
Greetings, everybody. I'm clearly play Lae'zel, the fiercest warrior in this Fey run.
So unbelievably hot. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Hello, my name's Astarion, possibly the greatest vampire in the world.
I think people would definitely agree with that by this point.
Thanks, yeah.
Stand aside, Team Edward. It's now Team Astarion.
Bloody Twilight.
Wait for the cameo in the sequel book. So I want to go back to the beginning, because we talked about this. You actually mentioned just then something that you talked about back when we spoke last year. When you saw the audition, it was down as a Warhammer name, but it had D&D mentioned, and you figured it out.
Yeah, all projects that you come to an audition stage have code names. Obviously, you know, sometimes it's not useful or helpful or positive to spoil a game by announcing that it's coming out and stuff like that. So we use secret names for projects. And I saw it as Drachenfels, and I used to play Warhammer Roleplay. I still play Warhammer Roleplay, I'm a geek. So I realized that Drachenfels is a character from Warhammer. So I was like, oh, cool, they're doing a roleplay for Warhammer. That's really interesting, and that'll be high fantasy. That's cool, you know. I dig it. And then they sent us the brief, and the pictures were not Warhammer races, they were D&D races. And because I know my D&D and also gaming history, I was like, well, it's been 25 years-ish, possibly more, since the last Baldur's Gate, and Icewind Dale as well, so it's going to be one of those games. Okay. And I freaked out completely.
It's very good powers of deduction there.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, all right, Sherlock.
Well, it was like called Devil King. It's clearly a tiefling. It's like that's only in D&D.
Clearly, if you know your...
Yeah, if you know your D&D, it's definitely... Oh, guys, come on, it's clearly a tiefling.
I was not successful as a young man in romance. I'm going to put it out there. I was playing games when it wasn't cool, doing D&D when it deeply wasn't cool.
Yeah, it's chic now, thanks to things like Stranger Things.
When I started dating people, I had to at some point like go, and there's this thing that I do as well. And
you do tabletop D&D?
Yeah, man. Like full on. I'm a GM, I'm a DM, man.
Are you?
Yes. That's right, I roleplay.
I would love to see Astarion DMing.
Yeah, me too.
You failed the stealth check.
Oh dear, you failed again. Critical 1. Oh dear, darling. Then you're dead. Roll up a new character.
And Dev, talk to us about your audition process. Did you have a similar experience? Did you know all the D&D races?
I knew all the characters, yes. Yeah, I got this audition. I was like, definitely...
must be Baldur's Gate,
must be Baldur's Gate 3, yeah. No clue. I actually think it's quite good, now that I come to think of it, it's actually quite good that they codename our auditions and the games, because it puts a lot less pressure on you as an actor. I had no idea, obviously, of the game. Probably I could have figured it out if I had, Neil's detective skills or some context of this game, but I didn't. So I was like, okay, I think I auditioned for pretty much all of the characters.
So did you, yeah. We talked about that before.
Yeah. And I actually had a sneaky peek of my auditions.
Really?
Yeah. I had a little look because I managed to dig them out. And my one for Shadowheart is hysterical. And thank God I didn't get cast as Shadowheart.
So angry.
Have you shown Jennifer?
It was, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, she found it very funny. Let's just say it was not my casting.
No.
But the Lae'zel one, but bang on.
Is it basically the same as it is now?
It is pretty much.
Really?
It's pretty much the same. But
wow.
I guess in the moment, I was just like, okay, I read the lines, and I was just like, this is how I perceive this, and yeah, and it was just meant to be.
It's interesting with that, because I only auditioned for like generic races.
Yeah.
When I worked out probably what it could be, I didn't care. I just wanted to be in it. So they gave us a whole bunch of races, and I just went, okay, an elf, a human, this, that, the other. And I'll just try everything apart from probably dwarf and gnome, because I may not be able to get those. But I just went up for everything. And they actually made a decision to get me in for it was like a recall demo, where we came in the suit, we did the whole lines, and I did with Jason Latino and Josh Whedon from Pit Stop, and I sort of did the recall as a demo, as Astarion. I didn't realize Astarion was a companion at that point. I just thought he was like probably going to kill him, because that's sort of, I'm usually antagonist. So I thought, well, he's just going to be another person you're going to kill. That's fine. Let's go, just come in, play a vampire, and I'll be in the game, which is amazing. So, and then they told me afterwards that actually he's a companion. That's when I was like, whoa, that's really huge. So.
Well, I want to come back and talk about that, because as a companion, I imagine there's loads of dialogue. But before we move on, Dev, this was actually your first voice acting and mocap job.
Smashed it!
Yes, it was. How crazy
Isn't that amazing? For a first job doing one of the biggest games of this decade, certainly.
And like I said, I'm so glad I didn't know, because I think I would have been, if me back then could see what's happening now and have to audition for it again, I'd be like, I'd do a horrible job, because I just wouldn't.
But I'm pretty sure when we, not the first time we met, like the second time we met, I tried to tell you what it was, and you were like, good.
No, Neil. I was just like, yeah, you can tell me about it, but I just didn't know.
Good for you that you're happy about this, Neil.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, great. I mean, I didn't find out until quite into the process what it was. And even then, they were like, it's Baldur's Gate 3. And I was like, great. Great. Yeah, just because, no context. I have context now, though.
You certainly do.
I'm playing the game now. Hey.
You're very good at it.
What?
Really?
Oh man, you don't see we did a tabletop session with High Rollers.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh my God, you haven't seen it? Who here's seen the tabletop, right?
Hey.
What,
Good
did
hand.
you like it? Did you like it? It's cool. Convince him. Well, you need to convince him because like. Yeah,
I feel
right.
convinced now with Neil's
Should convince
piercing
him.
eyes. You didn't watch it.
You
Go
didn't?
watch it.
You didn't what? And you're here. Research, darling. Research.
I've done. Look at
That's
these
really fun.
cards, Neil. I've written. In fact, here's the research. You were pregnant
Oh, yes.
near the end.
A great research.
That's a I did do that quite weirdly. I admit.
Here you
Sorry for the
go.
aggression.
Nice segue.
Pregnant. I was pregnant.
Heavily pregnant by the end.
Oh, extremely pregnant.
Well, how did? Because you do mocap as well.
Too pregnant.
You do
I was
mocap
just
as
a
well.
belly.
Yeah. How did that? Did less mocap happen by that
No,
point?
same
You were
amount
still
of
doing it.
mocap, same amount of. See, this is what I love about games, by the way, and about motion capture, about soul. You can be any shape or size. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you were doing this on film and TV, you'd probably have to stop the production and wait until you gave birth. No, not in this case. We just carried on because.
Well, in all fairness, man, you're like the strongest actor I've ever met. Because most actors would still go, I'm very pregnant, I'm just going to stop now.
No, I
And you were
wanted to
like,
carry
hardcore.
on. Everyone was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" As the due date was sort of slowly creeping up on us, so I was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Look, I'm fine. Until my waters break, we're absolutely fine." And 2 days before I gave birth, I was actually my waters broke actually after a session.
Yeah, yeah.
Good Lord, really?
Yes. Yeah. And
We
you
all,
know,
everybody, because we all talk, obviously we all talk, we're all friends.
everyone was placing
So
bets
it was like, oh my God, her water's broke literally after the
after the session. Thank God it was like
I was about to say,
at
thank
home.
God. Yeah.
At home, because I think people were slightly nervous that it was going to happen during the
In
session.
the mocap suit.
In the
yeah.
mocap suit, but it did not. But
Hey, at least you'd have the animation for it in
Well, they-
case that
hey,
needed to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
So there you go. Yeah, it was an experience.
I can imagine so. So let's talk a little bit about the characters. I've seen that in interviews you get a lot of people asking you, is Lae'zel's face based on yours?
All
How do you
the
feel
time.
about that?
I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I slightly offended, but then a lot of people find her very attractive, so I don't
So
know.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. No, I love my little green lizard, so I'm happy to take it. I'll take it. But it's not based on that. It's not. You know, I think they used our expressions for animating the characters.
Yeah,
and
they have reference of us, so the
Yeah.
animators are following our performance.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, like, Larian have done an amazingly beautiful thing. They've changed the term voice actors to cast. 'Cause It's
Right.
more accurate because it wasn't voice work.
It's
it
performance
was full
capture.
performance, performance capture in the volume and voice. We did very little pure voice work, which is mainly for like in-game stuff.
Voice work is very reductive as well, because I think even when you are doing just voice work,
You're acting.
you're acting.
Yeah.
You're doing the same prep, you're doing everything. So to call it just voice acting is I think a little bit
Because
reductive.
you don't, even if you're just doing the audio and you're not doing performance capture, you're still having to
You're not
physicalize.
just doing audio,
Exactly.
you're acting.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean, yeah. People,
yeah.
but people
And you're
don't
never
realize that.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Neil, but whenever I just do just voice work, I'm in the booth like
That's what I mean.
gesticulating and
Yeah.
moving
Yeah.
around.
Still acting, they
Yeah.
just can't see
Of
that.
course,
Yeah.
yes,
I think
yeah.
it's important as well because a lot of people, I'm sure you're getting this as well, I get a lot of people approaching me about wanting to be a voice actor.
Sure.
And I have to stop them and say,
Yeah.
the first thing you need to do is learn acting and then do everything. Theatre, film, TV,
It's no different.
whatever you want to do. Don't just specifically go, I want to be a voice actor, because actually, like you said, it's reductive because it's acting. And if you can do all of this stuff, A, you'll have a much better time financially, hopefully. B, you'll also learn a lot more to bring to animation voice work if that's something that you get lucky enough to do. So if anybody out there is an aspiring voice actor, change your mindset, be an actor, learn acting first, learn theatre technique, learn film, television, as well as training your voice. And then if you're lucky enough to do animation and games as a actor doing voice work, you'll see the benefit of it. Because a lot of people just go, I can do a whole bunch of voices. Like, it doesn't make a difference if you can't connect to the character.
No.
That's absolutely
In many
right.
ways, you have to work harder, I think, when you're just doing the voice, because you don't have the body language to match it, which you would have on screen to tell the story. You're really telling the whole story, but with just your voice. Obviously, you have the cinematics as well, but you don't have your body language to convey it. And
Yeah.
what communication is, 90%?
Body language.
Body language, yeah. So
And it is very much a high technical skill. So people that can do voice work, actors that can do voice work at a high level, are incredibly skilled. We were lucky we got to do full performance.
Yeah.
And that really, I think, added a huge amount to the work. That it wasn't wasn't just having to just rely purely on the vocal techniques, but also you'd be able to physicalize and also habitually physicalize your characters. So Lae'zel has a very specific movement that comes from you, and Astarion is all me. That comes from that, all the habits and stuff. They're very specific, and we got a lot of fun because it was 4 years of work where we could really develop the characters. So this was a dream job, man.
Yeah, really was.
Especially being able to really lend not just a personality and a voice, but literally a physicality. Because we talked about this before. Your physicality, this might be the wankiest thing I've ever said. It's almost inspired by Commedia dell'arte.
Wow, a term I haven't heard since drama
That's
school.
what I mean, exactly.
God.
I used it.
Because the lovers are all very like chest out.
It's not the lovers, it's Alecchino.
Arlecchino, yes.
So I used
Actually, yeah, okay, fair
I
enough.
use Alecchino technique in Astarion.
Wow, okay.
There's a certain bow he does. Can I get up? Can I
Yeah, please do, yeah.
Commedia dell'arte is an old French originally. Italian, but they teach it in French at Le Coq, which is a very famous Commedia dell'arte school, and movement school. So it's Italian, you're absolutely right. It's Italian, sorry. And there's a character called Alecchino who's he's amoral, not immoral actually, but he's a harlequin.
Yeah.
And so there's a thing that he does.
Is he the jester?
Yeah,
Yes,
Jester
he is,
character,
yeah. He's one of the characters, if you ever saw A Servant to Two Masters by Carlo Goldini, or which they then turned into One Man, Two Governors, the main character is basically like an archetype of Arlecchino.
Sure, yeah.
That's really interesting, because
So,
I threw that out there
is
hoping to get a, oh yeah, pretty good. But actually, that did inspire you a bit with the, wow, see, that's why you have to learn things like acting and drama school to be able to bring that to life.
The point is that we learn tool sets. So we're highly trained. We learn tool sets so that you're never entirely sure what you're going to use, but you have them to just throw at the character and see if it works. And if you're lucky enough that you get enough time to train, if you're dedicated enough, you can pull stuff from all over the place. It doesn't have to be one technique or another.
Of course.
All kinds of things will work, and actually, then you get to really, really layer and texture a character through these cool things. I mean, Lae'zel has got amazing movement.
They're every single performance is so unique.
They're so unique.
Incredible.
That's it. Yeah, I think you could tell even without listening to. If you probably just saw the little, well, what we call them Power Rangers when we do the motion capture. If you saw that just with the movement, you could probably tell immediately what the character was without listening to them.
Also, the personality. You both have quite abrasive characters. Is that probably the right way?
How dare you?
Sorry. But thinking about it, so I spoke to my brother, because my brother's a huge Baldur's Gate through. I think he's on his 4th playthrough or something mental. He's a big old D&D nerd, that boy. But I said, I'm interviewing you two, and he almost fainted at the idea
What's
of it.
his name?
His name's Jack.
Hello, Jack.
See,
Jack.
but he also said, do you know what I want you to say to Lae'zel? What I've always loved about Lae'zel being there is when you get rid of Astarion or anyone else from your party, not that you would do that, they all sort of go, oh. But when you do it, they basically go, you suck and you'll die without me. And that really, I think, sums up sort of a lot of what the character is about, quite frankly.
Well, it's true, though.
Say what you think sort of thing. Yeah. But that's what I want to come and talk about, because aside from the very abrasive and sassy sort of nature of your characters, you actually, obviously we're not going into spoilers in case anyone hasn't played it all, but there are moments where that facade is sort of dropped, and you get moments of real vulnerability. So with Lae'zel, there's moments in intimacy scenes where she sort of is quite vulnerable, but also sort of still herself. She doesn't like cuddling.
No, she doesn't.
She's not a hugger.
No, she's
How
not.
surprising.
I think she referred to it as pointless
Shocking.
grappling or something, didn't she?
Yeah, overheated grappling.
That's it, overheated grappling.
Overheated grappling, I think, is the correct term. And, who can blame her, really?
But obviously, and there's this really heartbreaking scene, again, which I won't spoil, with a choice you can make if you have Astarion in the party, where you deliver this really sort of heartbreaking line of, I don't think I can go through transforming again. And that's this real moment of, wow, there's trauma and vulnerability here. So I want to ask both of you, with your characters, when you have to show vulnerability or sensitivity to a character whose entire sort of pouring out personality is either quite harsh, honest and abrasive, or quite sarcastic and sassy, how do you go about approaching things like that when you're performing? Who wants to go first?
I have to think about, I have to think about that, because I think for me it just happens like organically in the moment, and I don't really plan too much of it.
Sure.
Also because I think we were very lucky with this game that we had early access, and I don't think anyone really knew what was going to happen beyond early access. So we had that chapter of the character, and that was sort of closed. And then, obviously, the story kept developing, and I was finding out things about the character as I was going along, because as it was being written. And that was really a gift, because I think sometimes when you know the whole script or the whole story, you can sometimes play the ending, which is an actor trap you can fall into.
Sure.
But with Lae'zel, and indeed with all the characters, we couldn't really do that because we didn't know the endings of the characters. I knew very little. So I just sort of, it's a very crap answer, but I just sort of went with it, and I savored those moments where I could show the vulnerability, because so much of Lae'zel is defenses up, and that's the way she proceeds, because I think that she's scared, and I don't think that she's doing that necessarily just to be to be difficult, but I think that she's scared, and she's coming from a very different culture. So and also we were very supported by a great team of writers and directors, and kind of working in combination together produced these performances.
Wow. That is a good answer, though. A very deep answer to think about. Very deep.
Yeah.
Neil, because obviously, like we said, Astarion has a lot of sass and love for the sass, but actually it really has sort of a history of trauma. And
I mean, again, reiterating what Dev said, we didn't really know, we knew this sort of overriding, kind of the big overriding picture, but we didn't know really how to get there until we got the scripts coming in, and then we perform it usually a couple of days later. So it was quite wonderful that all of us found that I know I've spoken to everybody, as long as we knew who our characters were, and that we really engaged with that and committed to the character, you kind of just were reacting as the character would in the present moment, which is a really interesting experience as an actor. Because like Dev said, sometimes actors can accidentally foreshadow the ending that they know in the script is coming in performance, whereas we were like, we have no idea where this is going, so I've just got to be the character in the present moment. The only thing that I did that was, I mean, sometimes I'd play with lines, obviously, in rehearsal before, and I go, okay, I've got a really interesting idea to try this. They're never going to let me do it, but I'm going to try it anyway, fuck it. But there's one thing that I'm not going to spoil, because obviously some people haven't played the game, that I did have to armor myself against. And that was using a lot of tools from like Method and some other things like that, to make sure that I didn't stray into my story, not his story. Right. Because that is also not the actor's job. You're not there to play yourself, and you're definitely not there to play emotions. Okay. You get the emotional experience of the thing that the character's doing by actions and by the obstacles and wants and needs, and exploring that, and they lead you to the experience of the emotions. There's no target. You end up where you end up because of the steps you take to get there in the organic present moment. So if I'm using a lot of acting craft technique, folks, but it's the easiest way of explaining it. But to guard yourself as an actor, to not play your story, even if it is close or if there's resonance with the character's story, you have to be trained, because you have to avoid that. Otherwise, you're just going to lose control, and it's going to be just you, and it's not necessarily going to make any sense.
Ends up being therapy then.
And also,
and it's not,
it's not a good idea. So there was only that bit that I had to really go, right, I need to set up very careful tools to help me stay on his path and not accidentally trigger something about me or whatever.
That's very fascinating, though, because that must be quite a hard line to ride. Because if there are elements of your life that you feel you can bring sort of to sympathize with the role, it must be hard not to blur those
actors
lines.
Never use trauma. You should never use trauma yourself.
Sure.
Whatever it is, you should never bring that into the volume or the space. But if the actor has trauma, then you have to find a way of accessing that truthfully. So, yeah, it was a fine line. But we have a wonderful, like Dev said, we have an amazing writing team, amazing directors. It was a very safe space. They had intimacy directors. That isn't just for sex and things like that. It's also for things like torture and really, mentally abusive situations. They are there for all of that. And that was a resource that Larian put in place, because they're an amazing company to work for. They really are.
I actually you've actually instinctively brought up the question I was going to segue to
next.
Segue,
darling, segue.
Time to segue. Hop on. So the intimacy coordinator, obviously a lot of people in here will know a lot about the sex scenes or the romancing and things, the bear scene. There's a lot.
That scene,
which I didn't believe until I saw it for myself. Like, good Christ. But so you mentioned there that there's intimacy coordinators. Now, a lot of people maybe don't quite understand what that is. It's not someone going, more ass, More hips. Commit to the bit. It's
Wouldn't
more.
it be funny if they were?
So actually,
I
what
really
you
like
guys-
when you did that line. Can we just get a little bit more ass?
I need more arse
bit
in
more.
that. Do it again.
Actually, you know what? 10% less.
10% less arse. Are you wearing the mocap suits for the intimacy scenes? Is that you?
No.
It's a whole bunch of stuff. We do intimacy scenes, and then there's also a thing called interactions.
Right.
So it's sometimes a blend. So the performance is ours, and that is always in the suit. So
Yeah, like
so-
the vocal performance.
and the physical performance
Yeah.
as well is ours. If there's a hugging moment or kissing moment, because we have to shoot in isolation, we may start a movement or end a movement in that moment, but then it flips to the mocap studio to then do some interactions.
Yeah.
It's quite minor, to be honest.
Okay.
But it's just because you can't physically get 2 people in the volume size that we were using.
Yeah.
So myself, Dev, Sam Bayard, Tim, everybody on the companions, and everybody in the main cast of 248 actors did full performance in the volume. Occasionally, when people have to hug and stuff or hold hands, we may have to go to a mocap studio, which is Larian's as well, to do interactions.
Okay.
Now, I'm also one of the mocap actors. So Astarion stuff, apart from a couple of minor things where I wasn't available that day, I did all of his stuff outside of that as well. But that's only because I'm a mocap actor as well as
Sure.
an actor that works in full performance.
You have a rich CV of.
Well, I
various motion
started
capture.
game work in motion capture before voice work. So my first work as an actor in games was mocap, doing all that stuff for other people's voices and stuff, you know? So I was lucky to be asked that. But everybody, the movements of Lae'zel is Dev's. The movements of Shadowheart is Jennifer, etc., etc. None of us were purely,
Yeah.
voice for
Absolutely.
our characters. It's full performance.
It's really interesting how, because it's such a long game and there's so many scenes, there's so much dialogue, it really shows how much, and you said it was 4 years, so it shows how much work you guys had to really put in, which is amazing.
Yeah. I think I was one of the first
You were one of the
to
first.
start
In
recording.
fact, you started before I did.
Yeah.
And you must have done it, therefore, through some of the pandemic.
Yes. Well.
That must have, you all have home studios by this point, I'm guessing.
We spent
well,
very little time
I
then.
don't think we did any of it in the home studio because obviously we had to do the performance capture.
Oh, right.
So we had a bit of a break.
A little bit of that narrative AD stuff, didn't
A
we?
little bit, yes,
We did-
yeah.
Yeah, some lines that were supposed to be in the booth, like
Right.
just voice work, we did do
Yeah,
that.
but
Okay.
not
That
a
was
lot.
only like 2 months,
Not
and then
a
we were
lot.
straight back in the
Yeah,
studio.
straight.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good then, but that's part of why it was sort of in isolation quite firmly at
Well,
points
that's
as well.
the thing is you can do that in mocap and
That's
performance
it.
capture.
Yeah.
Because you're alone
You're
in
alone
a booth.
in the room, yeah.
The people are behind a glass window.
True, it won't matter.
So actually,
Probably
games.
one of the safest things
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do during a pandemic.
Yeah, it was actually the only thing in town going at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
The only work that could happen was voice work.
Because
and
it's actors in isolation, right? On all other mediums, you'd be with other actors, but in this one, we're always by ourselves anyway. So it was, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Now, speaking of your characters, we only have a couple of minutes left before we're going to turn to the audience. By the way, if any of you do want to ask questions to our 2 wonderful stars up here on the stage, there is a microphone in the middle of the room. In just a moment, I will ask you to queue up there nice and calmly and safely for the people around you. But before that, there's something I would like to ask you guys. I still have 3 more cards worth of questions that I would want to ask, but we don't have the time.
No worries.
I'll ask you in private. I won't. But I'd actually like to, if I may, speak to both of your characters in person, if that's okay. Lae'zel, may we start with you?
If you must.
So,
Speak.
Lae'zel, talk to me a little bit about what it's like being so revered.
Revered.
Revered. People really like you. They enjoy your character. They enjoy
I
your
do not
character.
care too much if people like me or they do not. I am simply myself, and I'm rather incredible, if I do say so myself.
I've always
Particularly
been
as a warrior, as you may well know.
very well. I've always been very intimidated by you.
As you
actually.
should be.
Does that please you?
It does.
I actually wrote, "Does that make you happy?" But I've said the words, "Does that please you?" God.
It's an interesting choice
Yes.
of words.
I apologize. Please don't hurt me. Now, answer me this: why don't you like cuddles?
Cuddles. Chuck. What is the point of cuddles when you could be out there fighting the abominations that are growing in our heads?
I've got that tattooed on my chest. Actually, to be fair. Sorry. It's really intimidating
Yes.
talking to you.
It's quite all right. Lots of people feel that way.
Who was your, aside from yourself, who was your favorite person to adventure with?
Ugh, favorite person. I really only care for allies. Astarion, oh, he's rather a little bit too verbose for my liking, as is Gale, I must say. I think if I had to pick someone, I'd probably have to go with Karlach, for she's quite a fine warrior and doesn't do too much talking.
Do you know what? My brother said, if you're going to ask Lae'zel a question, ask, who would you like to go for a beer with and why is it Karlach? So that's really interesting
Correct.
that you said that without me having to prompt that.
Yes,
Lae'zel, it's been a pleasure talking to you, even if you hate every inch of me.
I
Now,
Cannot
speaking
say
of
the
hate
same.
every inch of me, Astarion, how are you?
Oh, pedestrian question to start with.
Yes,
darling.
I've got to
Pedestrian
ease it, and I'm
question.
getting there.
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. We've spoken before,
We have.
and you bullied
we had
me
a
on
most
stage.
intimate and scandalous bite to eat, darling. I won't go into the details. Modesty prohibits. Anyway, darling.
It certainly does. And when we first met, you basically called me in a roundabout way a big pussy.
I don't know if I use the P word, darling.
Not quite.
I don't offend anybody, but I think it's a fair appraisal of one's ability, darling. I think so. Well, I mean, yes.
Okay, I'll pretend that I'm not scarred by that, but it's fine. So, you've obviously gathered quite an audience of people who really love Astarion. And how does that feel for you? Do you like being adored?
Well, who doesn't, darling? Who doesn't? I mean, I don't need a mirror to know that this looks fabulous, all right? So, but here's the thing, darling. Here's the thing. I have quite the appetite. And there's a lot of me to go around, so I think this is a snack for me, you know?
Now,
But appreciate you juice boxes, darling. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed adventuring with you very much in my time Baldur's Gate. You were in my party the whole way. Do you think if we were to adventure together in real life, that you would enjoy adventuring with me, or would you drain my body of blood for sustenance and leave me for dead?
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's not quite the answer I wanted to hear, but I'll deal with it. It's fine.
You're welcome.
Lastly, do you have any words for your adoring public?
Clean those necks, I believe. And why don't we all go for a bite in Baldur's Gate soon, darlings? What do you think? Blushing Mermaid? It's cheap and cheerful, which is excellent because you'll be fitting the bill. See you soon, darlings. All the best. Bye.
Give it up for Astarion and Lae'zel in character. Right, we still have about 10 minutes left of this panel, which means it's time to go over to you, the wonderful audience, to come over and line up here behind this. Please move calmly, carefully, and safely, minding the people around you. And also, when you do ask your question, please ask quite directly into the microphone because we might not be able to hear it. You don't have to touch your lips to it, but make sure it's close enough. if I had a quid for every time I'd heard that. So, hello, that's a great costume. What is your question?
Hello there. Just wondering, like, when...
You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, appreciate that. When a groundbreaking piece of media comes out like this, and baby names from that media...
What's your name?
Oh, sorry. Hello there. My name's Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question is, which companion or NPC do you think is going to have the highest baby names in 2023 and 24?
What a great question. No, because you know what? I've thought about this. I've thought about how all the characters in Baldur's Gate 3 have incredibly unique names.
Yes.
And I'm like, God damn, I should have named my baby after one of the characters.
Lae'zel. Lae'zel Wilde.
Lae'zel Wilde. It's a bit much, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah, you can nickname them, yeah.
I can, can't I?
Little Lae'zel.
Lae'zel.
Lae'zel. Is that your rap name as well?
Lae'zel.
It might be. No, it's Chuxel. Anyway, which one might have? Ooh. I don't know.
You have to imagine it in a register at school. James here.
Halcyon Jones.
Shadowheart
That is Steve
here.
Jones. That's your surname. And I didn't even clock it. Halcyon Jones. I think all of them. I'm going to go for a good old Halcyon.
Oh, Halcyon. That's a cool name.
It's a cool name,
I love
isn't
that
it?
name.
It's
yeah.
very like it's a strong name.
And he's a bear.
And he's a
A bear of a man.
He's a big bear.
He's a big bear.
Yeah. What about
Neil? What about you?
Do you have one?
No idea. I don't know.
Astarion.
God forbid. No. Don't call him Astarion. You're already mad. Call your cat Astarion.
That's true.
It's a good one, yeah.
That's for a cat. Yeah, Astarion. Brilliant. All day long. Yeah.
Don't call your child.
Don't call your
Astarion.
child Astarion. That's just going to damage them.
Or Shadowheart.
Yeah.
Look, I love the character, but I can't imagine calling that in a park.
No, I imagine
Shadowheart.
there might be some Raphaels out there. I feel.
Gale.
Alfira.
Gale's a pretty
Gale's a good
normal
one.
name.
Gale.
Gale's a good one.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like Alfira, little Alfira.
Karlak.
Cute.
Alfira.
Little Alfira, little Alfie.
Alfie. Alfie.
Yeah, there you
Alfie.
go. Those ones.
Yeah.
Those are great. Thank you very much for your
Great question, Richard.
Yeah, nice question.
Who is up next? What is your name or what is your question? Let's lower that mic for you.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Kurt.
Hello,
I'm
Kurt.
I'm from Essex, and my question, so there's a lot of dialogue, loads of different choices and cutscenes. So my question is, how long did each recording session take, or usually take?
Usually about 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours max.
That was like a block.
Yeah.
But occasionally we were so pressed for time, we would do, not often, we might have done 2 blocks in a day. So sometimes, I did a couple of days of 8 hours.
That's long.
Yeah.
Wow, I never
was
did
long.
that.
Do you want to know
That's
an
long.
interesting fact about the script?
Fastest actor,
The script is over 7 million words long and is longer than all 3 of the Lord of the Rings films combined twice over.
Yep, that's right.
Wow. It
Trivia
was
from
over
IMDb.
7 million words long. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 4
But-
years and thousands of sessions,
Yeah.
hours of sessions.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
That's how much work
yeah.
was put into such a smash hit game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can all say here as well that like it's definitely deserving of Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Of course it is.
That's thanks to you as well. Thanks to
Game
you
of the
and
year
cast.
and performer
Yes,
of the
yes,
year.
definitely. I wish you all the best of luck for that, Neil.
Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate you.
Have you been nominated for Game Awards for yours?
Yeah.
You have?
Don't you know? Have you not
Well,
done your research?
I did Golden
Goodness
Joysticks.
me.
I wrote down all 7 of the Golden Joystick Awards.
Yeah, no, I got nominated for the Game Awards, yeah.
That's excellent. And that's
Hey.
next week, isn't it?
That's
Which you can all vote for, by the way.
Go and
Please.
vote. We want to make sure
you.
Neil gets the award.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to look for my note. Hello, who are you? What is your question?
Hi, my name's Justin.
Hey,
Hi.
Justin.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Justin.
My question is, the player definitely benefits from multiple playthroughs because making different choices, you see more well-rounded the characters are, the companions. And when you said how you can't, you're playing the character, you're not playing yourself, did you guys, though, find yourselves leaning towards rooting for like the heel turn or, yeah, let's save the world as the characters?
I don't know if I was rooting for certain choices. I think for me it was just fun to play out all the different choices because
Right,
you
yeah.
never would do that in a traditional TV or film or theatre setup. There is only one narrative,
Yeah.
and you're all going towards that. You're all sort of hurtling towards that. But here you get to try out all of them, and isn't that so incredible?
I do have to say that Lae'zel did seem the most single-minded in the her mission.
Definitely, yeah, I
But
agree.
Astarion, like I said on my second playthrough, where I was like, maybe I'll make this choice, and then seeing that different facet of Astarion, being like, yeah, let's do that. So it was just interesting to unlock of like, oh wow, their opinion is coming into the play, and how much was that just written, and then did you, the actors, go like, oh yeah, I hope they make this choice?
I think the main thing is that as an actor, you can't judge a character.
Yeah.
That includes wanting a good or a better ending, blah, 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 based on your opinion. Our opinion doesn't matter. What our job is to walk in the skin, the foot shoes, whatever the metaphor is, with the character on their journey, wherever it takes them. And you can't protect them and you can't judge them for it. You have to love them for it, no matter what. So for me, and for all of us, actually, I would say, we had all this amazing multiverse of possibilities. And that's joyous as an actor, because it's not, as Dev said, not just one linear moment. It's all of the moments, which for an actor is amazing.
Yeah.
So as long as we knew your characters, we can play anything. But I don't think any of us had a particular, I want this for them, because it's not our opinion that matters, it's your opinion that matters, of your game, of your story, of how the story develops and how you help or hinder or support or not the characters that you want to play. So every playthrough is important, because it's your story.
Yeah.
We just offered it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and great job, because like I said, it didn't feel like I was making a bad choice in what I did, because my party reacted how I felt the characters would react. So it was so rewarding to play it multiple times. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you for your question.
Thanks for your question.
You said you're not allowed to judge as an actor. Did you judge as a player? Did you ever at someone go, I think I hate me, or anything like that?
No, not really.
No?
No,
Good.
you get
That's what
too
we like to see.
close.
You are so happy with your character.
I go for maximum chaos. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Perfect for that. Hello, what is your name? What is your question?
Hi, my name's Samuel.
Hi.
Hi, Samuel.
Hi, Samuel.
I'm from Birmingham. I literally just came here from work. So,
Well done.
Brief lunch
Selfie.
break, was it?
yeah, something like that. I actually couldn't think of a question. So the first thing that came to mind was, how would your characters go to a cashier at McDonald's and ask that they were missing the toy in their Happy Meal?
Oh, that's brilliant.
I can't answer that.
No?
What's a McDonald's is the answer.
Give me my toy, or I will end you, Ishtik.
Great question, though. I really like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you're not going to get fired for...
Oh, hold on. Also, I just want to say, Neil, I recently replayed Resident Evil 3 Remake, and I really enjoyed your performance of Nikolai.
Oh, great, man. Nikolai's fun. I like the first time you meet him, he basically shoots somebody in the head, and that's all you need to know about the character.
Yeah, it's great.
All stars, these soft. No wonder so many of you are dead. Yeah, it's really fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was a great question. I actually turned to Reddit to ask them what questions they want to ask you. One person asked, what would Lae'zel name her stand-up special? And I said, Gith yank you very much.
That's good.
Or an evening at Crash Kalir.
That's
Oh,
also
very good.
Lae'zel laugh along. That's very
Oh, I like that.
That's
Lolzel.
Lolzel.
No, never mind. Anyway, hello. What is your name and what is your question?
Hello, my name is Aaron Yeager. No, it's hello. So I've got a question for both Lae'zel and Astarion.
What's your name, man?
David. Sorry.
David. Hi, David.
Nice to meet you. So for Lae'zel, I was romancing Lae'zel in my playthrough.
Good
I
luck.
was romancing you. But when it got to our duel, when you were deciding
Yeah.
whether we wanted to escalate it, you decided to throw a sack of eggs, of spider eggs at me. You set the whole camp on fire and killed Will, and then you still expected me to be in a relationship with you.
And this is
So
foreplay?
Apparently.
it was a lot to take in that moment. I just want to know what was going through your head during that time.
A good question, Ishtik. Listen, if you can't handle some rotten spider eggs and a bit of camp chaos, then I must say we're just not meant for each other.
There, I felt the same. I felt the same.
Tragic for you, not for me.
Is this couples counselling? And how does that make you feel?
I mean, it burned a little bit, but, you know, I got over it. It's
Literally.
fine.
There's a cream for that.
There's a cream for that, yes.
Yeah, straight on
great,
a,
great,
on
great,
a
great.
wavelength.
As for Astarion's question, Larian released data on how many people you've let down with your standards. So, do you take personal responsibility?
Do you know what the
for all
current
hearts
count
you broke?
is? I'm a bit behind.
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
Do you know what the current count is? I remember it was
current count.
100,000 about a week later. But I think I've lost
Probably a lot
count.
more.
Probably about half a billion or something. I think that's good, yeah. So what was the question, Dan?
Do you take personal responsibility for all the hearts you've broken?
What? Do I take personal responsibility? No. No, not at all.
Fair.
Why would I? I think, darling, this is more of a question for you, darling, than it is for me.
Look, this
Why
game's
is
let
your
me
heart
think
broken?
A lot.
I think
It's
it's the
been
point.
making me think a lot about a lot of things.
I think it has, darling.
Just add another 3 to the pile.
Exactly. Now, go away, think about it more, and come back and try again. Good
We'll
luck.
do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. We have time for one more. It has to be super quick, though.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Antimony.
Hi.
Hi,
Nice to meet
Antimony.
you guys. Really been appreciating the streams and all the content. Was wondering, like, your favorite or most memorable moment that you've done with your characters, Devzel and Bowie.
Well, I've had a few. I may have made a little choice about the Grove recently that I think might. I'm on the way. Yeah. But now I'm a little bit concerned because people are telling me, oh, you're going to miss out on stuff. And, like, am I going to miss out on
No,
stuff?
you're going to get stuff that other people miss out on.
There
if
we
they don't
go.
do it.
So I went in all guns blazing, literally. And and now I'm concerned.
The children?
Oh, the children, the tiefling children, they were so rude to me.
You are.
They deserved it.
They were so rude. They
They are
called
really
me
rude.
old.
They did call you old.
No, don't care about them. So I'm having a great time. And yes, over to you.
Yeah, I'm playing with an amazing writer. He's my friend Tom DeVille. He's an amazing film and TV writer. His character's called Azra. Mine's Bowie. And Azra is a paladin that continually breaks their oath all the time. Whereas my character, I really like my character a lot. One of my favorite moments was well, there's quite a few actually. I quite like the accidental, she was trying to just hop over something, so she decided to have elevation.
Yep.
Not by choice, the fucking computer did it. And just, it was like literally just a hop. Instead, she climbed up a 20-foot tall cliff face and then jumped down. And there was nothing I could do to stop it apart from just laughing and screaming for Azra to help or something. That was quite fun. But I'm having a lot of fun. It's great.
She died?
No, she just took 20 hit points. It was quite brutal. But it was very funny.
And prone.
And prone during a really big fight that Tom ended up having to do alone because I screwed up a little bit. But it's really fun, and it's very joyous that I get to do it with Tom because he's one of my best friends in real life. So we got to do this together. It was cool.
Yeah, it's been lovely watching both of you play it and
Thank you.
enjoy it and just be one of us.
Yeah, one of us.
One of us.
Thank you so much for your question. Guys, I'm afraid that is going to be the end of the panel. We're going to do a quick cheer for them, but then we're going to take a big selfie with all of you. So stay here and get ready for that. But give it up for Neil Newbon and Devora Wilde! This has been amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who's come. We're going to quickly take a nice selfie with you, our wonderful audience, so that we can remember this moment forever. Give us a big cheer, everyone! Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your time here at MCM Birmingham. Go see these two. Go get some things signed. Go get a photo. You'll love it.